everyone, to a special episode of Truck Tech. I'm Thomas Wasson here at Manifest, talking with Patrick from Greenlane. Patrick, you guys are doing a lot. You recently just spoke at a panel. Tell folks who are unfamiliar not only what Greenlane is, but what y'all are working on.
So Greenlane is a nationwide network of high-speed charging and hydrogen fueling stations for medium and heavy-duty trucks. A lot of what we're doing is we're focused on a data-driven strategy to find the right locations through partnerships with Daimler and so forth, and Uber Freight, in order to figure out what the right lanes are, the right locations, and the right type of freight that are ripe for electrification. So we're primarily focused on California, the Northeast, Northwest, as well as the Texas Triangle. In California is where we're actually starting, and our first network lane that we're actually rolling out is the Port of Long Beach to Las Vegas.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about that as well. What's the current design of the network, and then what are y'all hoping to build along this corridor?
So it's going to be a combination of sort of three different sizes, right? We're going to build like truck style, truck stop operating with full amenities and so forth at our bigger locations. Those are going to be more sort of suburban, urban locations as sort of anchor locations. Then we're going to enhance the network by also working with other partnerships, gas stations, convenience stores, as well as other truck stops to bolt onto their facilities. And in those particular cases, we have sort of a medium and a small, which we're calling our Plus and our Express.
Yeah. And then looking at charging speeds as well, a lot of talks about megawatt, gigawatt, different charging. You know, when we're looking at the early design and the early build out, what are some of the big goals in terms of charging? Is this something I can get it charged really quick when I come in, or is it going to take like a few hours? What's the current state of the market?
Well, the current state of the market is really as fast as the truck can accept the charge, right? And so in this case today, megawatt charging is probably a couple of years out. Most of the main vehicle manufacturers are really rolling out megawatt charging in 2027, 2008.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, the dwell times will be reduced significantly, where it will match and replicate more the dwell times of diesel fueling today. So depending on what we have pull-through lanes with 400 kilowatt chargers that essentially will charge up a truck in probably under an hour. We also have overnight parking, as well as lowers that are going to actually do for bobtails if they want to leave and domicile the truck at our facilities as well.
Yeah, so you take your 10-hour break or so, and then basically it's charged when you're done, you park on the spot, and you just roll out.
Yeah, in some cases, but you also got customers that are running these things 24/7, right? So essentially today, the total cost of ownership is a challenge, right? So you're looking at a lot of companies that are making the investment and they want to make sure it pencils. So they're actually running trucks 24/7, which means 3 7-hour shifts with an hour charging in between. You're going to require some significant infrastructure in order to charge up a truck in that time to make sure that it's ready to run its routes there afterwards.
Yeah.
So it's really important that fast charging and public charging is available out today. And I think the other thing too is that you're looking at today, there's a lot of companies that are running science experiments where they might have 30 trucks and they're putting chargers on a 1-to-1 ratio at each of their facilities.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, how's that going to scale, right? I mean, the amount of innovation, $50 billion has been invested in this over the course of the last 5 to 7 years. There's a lot of innovation that's going into this. Megawatt charges coming out, which really sort of takes down that dwell time.
Yeah.
It's really going to change the market. So a lot of companies are investing today, but it's going to be difficult to keep that investment up going into the future, just because it's impossible to. The innovation is going to change dramatically, and what's deployed today is going to be vastly different than 5 years from now. Yeah,
and you recently just completed a panel as well at the event. Tell us a little about what you were talking about and what's kind of the consensus as, you know, folks around are talking about the overall, you know, where are we going from here? What's up?
Well, I think a lot of it is sort of looking at what's available in the marketplace today, and there's obviously some changes going on with it today, with federal government change, administration change, and so forth, and you know, it might slow down in terms of adoption and so forth, and what people are actually looking for, but I'm a big believer of it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yeah.
And with all the amount of money, the foundation that's been laid, you know, is it going to be in the next 2 years? Probably not. Companies got to go at the speed of right and do what's best for their organization and make sure that they work out the total cost of ownership.
Yeah.
And they also have to learn, right? They have to learn actually how to do this. How do you electrify a fleet?
And one of the things I've noticed there's grant spaces, there's government grants, there's ways to fund it. Given the recent changes in administrations and stuff, I'm assuming states and other municipalities, it's not as if this years-long effort to build this infrastructure is somehow on hold. There's always continued development within the space.
Yeah, and I think, you know, if you talk about the federal government change and so forth, is look, whoever's in the White House at the end of the day I think it's going to change the speed maybe, but not at the if.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing too is that for us, we've particularly done more of a state focus level as well as engagement on the utility side to ensure that this keeps moving forward, right? I mean, this is an industry, if you take any sort of parallels to the passenger vehicle side of the industry, you'll be looking at as it's moving along nicely and so forth. And a lot of this was done initially during a Trump administration as well.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, look, there's still funding out in the marketplace. There's still CARB and everything else is pushing this. So I think that the pace of the way the market moves is going to be at the pace of right.
Yeah, and talk about the pace, the corridor you're building out. What's kind of the timeline look like, and what's some of the what are some of the early milestones y'all are hoping to hit?
Well, we're super excited to announce that we're going to be opening up our first location in about the next 30, 40 days, and
Nice.
which is going to be opening up just before our next show. And we already have customers lined up to actually join us and utilize the infrastructure. So our first location is in Colton, which is just outside of San Bernardino. That particular location will have about 41 chargers, a full amenities building, as well as office space for freight logistics companies, which is something that they've been very interested in. So we can service both bobtails. We have about 29 chargers to serve bobtail trucks, as well as 14 pull-through lanes, the high-speed 400s.
Wow, so that's going to be really exciting. And then as it goes outwards towards Vegas, and that'll be the first.
They'll be lighting up the first corridor, right? And then we're about to announce another corridor shortly behind that. Can't announce it just quite yet, but we'll move on to the first to know.
Perfect. Patrick, I really appreciate your time as well. Is there anything else, especially thoughts as you're having conversations with folks in the space, anything else you think maybe folks should be keeping on their radar for this year?
I think people should just be open to different solutions, right? Companies, one solution for one company might not be the same for the other. It's really the pace you're willing to go as well as the solutions you're looking at. So you've got depots, you've got public infrastructure, you've got charging as a service, truck as a service, a lot of different solutions out in the marketplace today.
Yeah.
I would encourage them to experiment, try them out, find out what's right for them, and figure out how to fine-tune that total cost of ownership so that they get what they're looking for. So build out an ecosystem is my recommendation.
Yeah, it takes an ecosystem to charge a truck. Patrick, really appreciate your time.
Also takes a village, but thank you.
Giving a developer some ideas over here.
Yeah.
So if folks want to learn more about Greenlane, get in touch, see what you're working on, what's the best way to find out?
www.drivegreenlane.com. Give us a call. We're happy to set up a meeting and talk a little bit about what we're trying to build out and what the vision of the company is.
Perfect. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to a special edition of Truck Tech. I'm Thomas Wasson. We are live at the event here in Manifest. We have this cool looking podcast booth. We have a fuzzy floor, and we have the folks.
It's a nice fuzzy floor.
It's a really nice fuzzy floor. The folks from Outrider here today. Tell us a little bit not only about yourself for those who don't know, and what are y'all doing right now currently at the conference?
Absolutely, Thomas. Great to be with you as always. Andrew Smith, I'm the CEO and founder of Outrider. We are the creator of and leader in the area of autonomous yard operations. So we are automating and use best-in-class AI technology to streamline between the loading dock and over-the-road transportation. So everything that happens within a distribution yard, our autonomous software allows vehicles to hitch to trailers, move trailers, enhancing the safety, efficiency, and sustainability of the yard environment.
One of the cool things you all have, especially in terms of autonomous yard operations, is going to be hooking up to trailers. And so tell us a little bit about some of the specially designed equipment you have. Not only is it an autonomous yard, a yard dog or a terminal truck.
Yep.
Tell us what also is added onto it to help it do its tasks.
Sure. So when we started the company early on, the realization was it wasn't just about automating a vehicle. It was about automating the vehicle and all the other manual tasks in the yard to allow people to do what they do best, which is complex human tasks, let the yard trucks do repetitive tasks. So we went through sequentially looking at all the tasks of the yard, and what you're specifically pointing out to is if you can't hitch a yard truck to a trailer or a container on a chassis, you can't autonomously move it very well. And so we launched Trailer Connect early in our company's history, which was essentially using deep learning to see the front face of a trailer and autonomously connect the air lines and electric lines to any trailer flowing through a distribution yard. So just a fun story about the company. Again, as we were starting this industry, we looked at 200 different ways to potentially connect airlines and electric lines. We have technology around things where you can do adapters or modifications to the trailers, but the majority of the market does not want to modify 2 to 3 million trailers. And so this robotic arm, again, using reinforcement learning, can see the front face of a trailer, connect to a trailer, and pick up anything moving through the supply chain.
And I like the fact you guys are using AI in a very functional, physical way. And one of the big things at the event and the conference has been, everyone's talking about how AI can help with your workflows, But it feels to me like, especially in the autonomous space, the AI appears to be a much beefier AI that is doing stuff. What are some of your thoughts as you sit through these panels, you're listening to folks talk about it? Is it almost like there's like two different classes of AI we're talking about here?
Yeah, so I think it's worth touching on. So there have been advancements in models that mean that AI is not only available in software applications or large language models, but now there are these amazing applications in the physical world and dealing with variety in the physical world. And so as we train our systems, it allows these systems to get better and better at customer sites and how it maneuvers around other vehicles, how it reduces congestion in the yard, how it deals with diversity of trailers, how that robotic arm connects to trailers. So Outrider is really on the forefront of AI in the physical world, addressing a $60 billion sub-segment of the supply chain that is moving the world's freight through distribution yards, rail terminals, ports, etc.
And one of the cool things is AI can help now like self-train itself. So you can have like a testing environment for AI. You can use the AI. How, as the Outrider truck is moving along, is it basically like self-reinforcing itself, or does it have like, tell us for folks who are kind of unfamiliar with like the AI, I guess it's AV 2.0 now
yeah.
we're looking at. How does that work?
So with reinforcement learning, what you're able to do is train the system, have the system working, but then basically say, hey, you did a good job or a bad job, and the system's able to learn from those events and continually enhance its performance over time. So what that does is it allows you to get away from large amounts of people coding every scenario to having self-driving roads on the self-driving vehicles, taxis, etc., as well as very capable trucks in the yard environment. Now, what I should say also, though, and what we spent several years doing is you need 80,000-pound robots to be very, very safe. So on top of our AI-driven systems, we have much more deterministic systems that are built into 12 proprietary safety mechanisms that provide redundancy to the system. And what that means is that we can be safely operating alongside the other actors we do see coming in and out of distribution yards.
It's like Asimov's law for yard trucks.
That's right, and yeah, I mean, people don't realize that the majority of all freight goes through these yards, and right now there are people literally billions of times a year going and finding trailers, backing up to trailers, looking out the window to find the right trailer, hitching to trailers, connecting airlines, and this all can be automated with latest generation technology, but you have to make that technology really safe and really reliable.
Yeah, and when we're looking at as well here, one thing I heard is that you can basically make a Westworld of the yard, and then the AI is going to reinforce itself, and you could theoretically have the AI basically cook and learn how to navigate it, and then as it's collecting it in the real world, it can feed this model, and it's kind of like a back-to-back. Is that kind of the direction you're seeing some AI move in the future? What is, in addition to having those hard rules, you have the generative spots, what are some of the different ways folks are trying to tackle this beast, in your opinion?
So yeah, one of the big things is to get started, you do need to have a valuable data set, and that means essentially over the last 5 years we've worked with multiple of the largest companies in the world that are dependent on robust supply chains. And so you get the diversity of training, and then you get the ability to reinforce that training every time you're moving these trailers. So the Outrider system, we've now moved hundreds of thousands of fully autonomous trailer moves. It's fun to be here at Manifest, because now what was sort of a vision a few years ago is now something that the biggest companies in the world are implementing. And part of our mission is to also do this as responsibly as possible. So that means with safety in top of mind, but also phasing this in along with normal transitions at these customer sites. There's huge turnover at these customer sites. This is a dull, dirty, dangerous task. And so we can use these models to do the complex task that a lot of people are just not looking to do on a daily basis.
And let's talk about what's next for Outrider. What are you all looking at and thinking about for this year? You recently had some big news. Just tell us a little bit about kind of what's on the horizon.
Yeah. So, what's on the horizon is that big companies have worked very closely with us to partner to develop the technology where it is right now, and so we will be scaling across these networks. That's the big focus of the company right now. This whole concept of AI in the physical world is a tremendous opportunity for the company, especially when you combine these very powerful models with the safety bucket, with the reliability and durability, because nobody in transportation cares about a technology if it's not going to last 24/7, 365 under the harsh conditions we all operate. So it is scaling, it is continued features and hardening for more and more diverse applications, and it's going after the $60 billion market we really created.
And final thoughts as well. One of the things, electrification and diesel, the internal combustion engines, having this autonomous technology, what are some of your thoughts? Because a lot of the stuff, especially even at Manifest, we're seeing a lot of EV players also coming in the space. How is that is there going to be an interplay? What are some of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So super exciting things happening with electric vehicles, but specifically electric yard trucks. If there was ever an application for an electric vehicle, it's within a yard, and all the leading large logistics dependent companies realize that, like, this is the place for EVs. And so Outrider is able to automate a diesel truck, a coal-fired truck, a nuclear powered truck. We can automate all the different classes, but we've been very focused on an EV-first automation because of the opportunity of a lower cost of ownership platform. You don't have to have on-site refueling. You don't need diesel treatments. You've got less particulate matter where your associates are working, and it's a more stable platform for the autonomy. It's a more stable power platform. So sort of interesting at this point, our company, after running dozens of autonomous electric trucks, it's such a big backward step to start automating diesel, but we're happy to go that path. What we found is that these EVs are really going to take over the yard market. The future yard is autonomous and electric.
And they can charge themselves too, so when it's ready to charge.
100%. You've got no charging anxiety. These big facilities have on-site power for whatever they're manufacturing or moving around their warehouse. So you just simply have the autonomous vehicle go back. They can either be manually plugged in or autonomously plugged in or go to inductive charging, but they can just look for low points in the operations and charge themselves, and it's just a key piece of that operation at that site.
That's cool, and I really appreciate your time as well coming on to get to talk about this stuff. Excellent stuff. If folks want to learn more about Outrider, what's the best way to find them?
Yeah, absolutely. Just go to outrider.ai, and we are always excited to meet great new team members and serve great customers.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
That's going to be it for this segment, but we're going to have a bunch more. I'm going around, I'm cooking up some stuff. It may be here, it may be there. Stay tuned.